excited to teach you about archaeology and one specific tool that the peoples of Iowa used about 10,000 years ago to hunt down large game such as our bison. So this is an atlatl. It's a very simple tool. However, it was a very important tool. An atlatl is a spear throwing tool, and it's a very simple tool. It's essentially made a straight stick. It has a spur or a point right here. And the early ones didn't have this holder here. You either had a leather strap or you held your fingers. So this was a spear thrower or an atlatl. And how it works is, once you add your spear here, you would be able to use a nice flick of the wrist, like that, to be able to increase the velocity that your spear would go and also the distance. So this tool is most accurate at about 60 to 70 feet. So like I said, it's a spear throwing tool. And so here we have a spear. It's probably a little over, it's probably about 5 feet, 8 inches. Important parts of a spear are the fledgings, so the feathers right here. They would use the feathers of geese or sometimes turkey to create these, and that helps your spear to fly straight. And then another important point would be the point of the spear. So often the point was made of either stone or bone, depending on the resources they had available or what they were trying to hunt. This one's made of metal because it's a modern day spear. So how you load your atlatl is you take the spur right here, and on the fledging end of it, you put it in just this little cup indentation right here, and then you set it here. And then all the people of the past would need to do to increase their velocity is to have a nice overhand throw and a flick of the wrist. Okay, before you guys see how good of a hunter I would have been 10,000 years ago, I want to give you a little more history on the atlatl. So the first atlatl known to be used was around 30,000 years ago in Europe. And in North America, they've been found around 12 to 15,000 years ago. And so how this is known is because scientists called archaeologists who study people of the past have done digs and studies, and they have been able to find evidence of atlatls and spears in different camps and areas of the world. So that's how they know that they came around the scene around 30,000 years ago in Europe and 12 to 15,000 years ago in North America. So about 10,000 years ago in the state of Iowa, hunters probably used the atlatl to be able to hunt our bison. So this tool predates the bow and arrow. The bow and arrow is found probably 2,000 years ago, and it was used to hunt. Although the bow and arrow came around, it doesn't mean that atlatls were obsolete at that time. They were still used for a number of reasons. One, because they were easy to create by people, and so they were still used. Their use kind of declined after the bow and arrow, but it was still used a lot because it was easy to create. All you needed was a really good sturdy kind of wood and carving skills to be able to create an atlatl. So remember, the spur of the atlatl is really crucial to being used. So the spur goes into the end of the spearhead, the end where the fledgings are, with the feathers right here. And then on mine, I just put it in the cheater bar. But when this was being used 10,000 years ago, most likely they used their fingers to hold the arrow, or they had a leather strap. And so remember, like I said, all they needed to do then was use a nice overhand throw and a flick of the wrist to make this go 60 to 70 feet with most accuracy, but it can fly up to the distance of a football field. They can also fly around 90 miles an hour if you have a really good throw. So you aren't going to see that today, but I'm excited to show you how this worked, and you're definitely going to see why it was such a useful tool. So let's see how I do. So my goal is right down here. And remember, I'm going to use a nice overhand throw and a flick of the wrist. So we'll see how I do. Oh, so I got a little too much muscle on that and I overshot my target. But if you ever get to use an Atlatl, don't get discouraged, because we are not people of the past. We don't use these on a daily basis. However, if you do get the opportunity to use them, I highly encourage it, because they are a fascinating tool and they're a lot of fun to practice with. Thank you and have a great day.